everyone.
Good evening.
How are we doing this evening?
Great.
We ready for the Super Bowl? Yes? All bets are in?
Not yourself,
Okay. Again, welcome to the Winslow Township Board of Education's regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. Public notice of this meeting is given to all board members and associates, and notice is dated January 6, 2022. Adequate and electronic notice of the public meeting has been provided, specifying the time, place, and the manner in which this meeting is being conducted. It was advertised in the Current Post, posted in all schools, the administration office, the municipal building, the library, the Dual Center, Edgewood Acres, Elmtown, and the Winslow Township Post Office. And this is our mission statement. The mission of the Winslow Township School District, a large, diverse, and growing community, is to educate all students to become independent, lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and caring and confident members of their community. The district, in partnership with the community and in a climate of cooperation and mutual respect, will provide an academic environment which values excellence and diversity, encourages our students to strive for personal excellence, and assist them in acquiring the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to contribute positively to a rapidly changing world. Roll call, please.
Mr. Galais. Present. Ms. Draven. Here. Ms. Martin. Present. Ms. Moore. Present. Ms. Diegas. Present. Mr. Shaw.
Present.
Ms. Thomas.
She will be absent this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Peterson. Present. And Ms. Pitt.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Can we now stand for the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our 2021-2022 district goals. Number 1, student achievement. Continue to implement best practices for delivering instruction to students utilizing all available and appropriate instructional models. This shall include A, ensuring articulation at all grade levels throughout the district. B, focus on innovative classroom instruction at all grade levels. C, ensuring all students have equal access to equipment and resources needed to facilitate and promote student learning in any setting. Evaluation and updating all district programs, including athletics and curricular activities. E, accountability of all district staff. 2, continue to foster a positive school environment that is conducive to teaching and learning. A, focus on building relationships among staff and families that will result in learning and more effective instruction. B, emphasis on collaboration with all district stakeholders. C, promote an inclusive, diverse, and compassionate learning environment. And 3, market our strengths and achievements to all stakeholders to increase capacity for greater parent-caregiver. By A, continue with our public relations marketing plan. B, continue to work with various advisory committees in the district. And C, examine communication methods utilized by the district.
Thank you, Ms. Diegas. Moving now, board members, as is indicated on our agenda, we're going to interview our citizen. I believe we have 2 minutes that we're going to interview tonight with regards to the citizen advisory committee. And I believe we made one for Ms. Hoffman and Ms. Stanley. So if it's Ms. Hoffman here, good. We have a nice chair for you, Ms. Hoffman. Mr. Wilcox. Ms. Hoffman, this is probably going to take all of 5 minutes, okay? We have 2 questions, okay, that board members are going to ask. And once you've completed that, then you are welcome to stay until we go into recess or executive session and come out, which will be after we've done our entire agenda. Or you can, if it's if you find it's more convenient for you to go home, you will still be contacted. Okay? And Mr. Blake is going to be the board member that's going to answer. Okay?
Well, before we get started, Madam President, should the other candidate be in the room as well?
I don't believe the other candidate is here.
Yes.
Oh, is she here? Oh, Ms. Sterling. Ms. Sterling? Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Blake.
Shall be fair.
Yes. Well, that was the only reason that I asked Ms. Hopkins, because I didn't know that Ms. Sterling had arrived.
Okay, so we actually swapped, so I'm going to ask Ms. Hoffman. Over here. Hello. Okay,
This isn't part of the
it's okay.
I'm flexible.
Good.
As a resident, how long have you lived in Winslow Township?
I've lived in Winslow Township now for 6 years this past December. But I taught in Winslow Township for 40 years.
And which ward do you live in?
I think it's Ward 1.
Have you ever volunteered in any capacity within the school?
Yes, I have. I have volunteered at school number 4. I did tutoring. I also helped with testing and tutoring in the summer school program. I did that for about 3 years. And as a teacher, I volunteered on several committees involving parents.
Okay, question 2. Having an understanding of the committee's guidelines and procedures, what strengths do you possess that would be an asset to
I still care about teaching. I care about the students. I also care about the township and the parents. I think that when you have worked in the township and worked with the students and parents, you understand that everybody's goals are the same and their goals are in line with the mission statement. And I think the purpose of citizens advisory would be that we would try to get unity rather than disparity. If there's disagreement, that we need to work to get everybody to agree and to see each other's points. And I would hope that I'm a supportive person, and I would hope that I would be able to lend support to both sides.
Thank you. What are your goals if appointed to the committee?
If appointed to the committee, I would like to see if we could start. There are some really good reading programs out there that involve the reading the teacher reports. There's a big program down in Delaware, and it might be something that would be very viable for Winslow Township because it provides students that are having difficulty with a super good reading program, reading assist program, and it also provides one-on-one tutorial for the students. Results in Delaware have been very, very good. So I would like to work in that field, and I would also like to work with the parents and teachers and a child with kindergarten, preschool, because that is just so important to build that foundation for the kids.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hoffman.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Blake. Just two questions.
Hi, Mrs. Gurney, how are you? You're gonna do a great job. We just have like two questions. They're so easy. We just want to get to know you a little bit better. I feel like I already know you anyway, so. You're doing great. Question number one. This is easy. As a resident, how long have you lived in Winslow and what's your ward?
24 years, a couple months, and
All right, that was easy, right? Part two to question number one. As a resident, have you ever volunteered in any capacity within the school district?
I've done parent chaperone from the preschool meeting to the high school English kids going down to PC. And I was involved in PSA for the year. My youngest son was at school 3 for 7 years. He started at the end of the third grade. And in November, he was 7 years moving out of school. I was on the board for 5 years. So I was involved the first few years, figured out how it worked. And then the last 5 years, I was actually on the board. And in school 6 now, but I've been attending the HOK, but it's been a while since I was in children going through school 6. So I figured out take the year and figure out how to do it one year. And my schedule changed now, I think back to my own.
Nice. That was easy, right? Question two. Two-part question, letter A. Having an understanding of the committee's guidelines and procedures, what strengths do you possess that would be an asset to the committee?
I think my background is personality, personality for parents and visitors. I have had to straight ahead AP student, that's the graduate from college this year, and then I have a student who started a leadership research course for a preschool program, so I constantly allow those questions. See where some of the parents and feel frustrated with certain things. There are some programs that I think people are into the district with refreshing that I wish were still available. COVID is part of the reason that there was a science camp for the accelerated students years ago. We finally was hopefully with the party. Now we're studying chemical engineering. So I feel like that was a good thing at the right age to the students and things like that. And then I've had issues where I get a call about not making meetings, but the letter comes about not making meetings, I just get 4 hours after we do the schedule. So I then kind of back to the party, where I was doing that, better communication. So I feel like I have a lot of stuff for and schools and
Question number 2, second part and final question. Having an understanding of the committee's guidelines and procedures, what are your goals if appointed to the committee?
I think it's better to try to get a better, spot on them. There are some very good things in this school. This school district and my son, for an engineering school where we provide the pretty cool economy, which I think is better than I ever had in my college. And he was very good. He was strong enough person there. Some of that is his talent, but I think that you also need the foundation for it too. So I would like to let those things shine in the club and not have people just get a movie to this and sit and sit and always on the price and show them a lot of that's not necessarily true. One of my hopefully pet projects, which I tried when I was in high school, was getting some sort of financial plan for this space for college. Because even talking to young graduates, when they said that they took out $20,000 a year for loans to go to school, and then their bill came due, and they owed $130,000, and they were expecting $80,000, because nobody wanted to explain the content and start day one of these big ones. So these are things that I could help children career, and I think that's the nationwide issues in college, growing with the kids that are 18 years old and not really understand how their parents are able to go to school in the country, or people may not get their country, so that they're really see a true financial literacy program to help these kids out so they're not starting home with more students in after school.
That's all the questions we have. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll take you.
The board members at this time, we are going to have Dr. Monteith do his presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I begin the presentation of the Start Strong assessment results for the Winslow Township School District, I have a special announcement that I want to make. And Madam President, members of the board, and the community, over the years, I've made a lot of announcements at board meetings, robocalls to parents. But tonight's announcement is special. As a matter of fact, it's one of the most special announcements I've ever made during my entire tenure. And I think all of you would agree and share in this announcement because I'm going to put it bluntly, this is big. This is truly big for us. In October, we nominated one of our administrators for an award. And as we went through the process, once the individual became a finalist, then they sent a team to the district to meet with a group of us. So the person we nominated was a finalist, so the group came and met with us. And after they met with us, the selection committee went back, and then last night, we found out that Ms. Stowe Wanguma has been selected as the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association Visionary Principal of the Year. We fulfilling the awards, the acknowledgements and the honors just keep coming. In addition to Ms. Wanguma representing the state, she has also been selected to represent the state of New Jersey in the National Association of Secondary School Principals National Principal of the Year Award. So she will be representing the state of New Jersey on the national level for that prestigious award. And I got a letter. Letter was written to Ms. Wanguma. It was CC'd to me, and give me an opportunity just to share with you some of the statements in the letter. It says, Ms. Stella Wanguma, congratulations on being selected as a visionary principal of the year, as well as being selected for the NASAP Principal of the Year. Your dedication and hard work on behalf of the children of your school and a parent to the selection committee, and we at NJPSA are very proud of what you have accomplished. I'm not going to read it all, but it says, as secondary principal of the year, you will receive $7,000 for your school and a $1,000 personal reward. Dr. Carpenter, did you let Ms. Wanguma know that she
I already started.
700 of that because 300 goes to the nominating committee?
And then I get the other one.
Yeah, thank you. After she receives, of course, the personal award, she has to submit to the organization how she's going to spend her $7,000. Then it goes on to say, the awards program will be held October the 21st, 2022 at the Ocean Place Resort in Long Branch, New Jersey. Additional information will be sent to you as the fall conference approaches. Your accomplishment will also be acknowledged by the New Jersey State Board of Education sometime in December 2022. The Commissioner of Education will make a special presentation to you at this time. I encourage you to invite your superintendent to join you in the award ceremony. Now, we didn't get a chance to go to Washington, D.C. because of the pandemic. So we missed that opportunity. So I'm assuming that things are going to continue to get better, and Ms. Wanguma, you and I, and maybe representation of the school district will be there for Ms. Wanguma, not only for the ceremony here, but for the ceremony in October. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know that this accomplishment, not only for Ms. Wanguma, but for her teachers and her staff at Winslow Township Middle School, her students, present and past, this school district and this community. This is big and this is special. To have one of our administrators represent the entire state and then place her on the national level, it is an accomplishment that we can all be part of, an accomplishment that we can all share. We're going to do something much, much bigger than this. I just want to get ahead of it because by tomorrow it may become public knowledge. And I don't want anybody to find out before you had an opportunity to find out about it personally. So, Ms. Stella Wanguma, would you please come and just take a bow, please? I don't want to put you on the spot, Ms. Wanguma, but we just acknowledge just
Good evening, board members and community members. I just want to take a moment to say thank you. I am truly honored. I'm very honored. Thank you, Dr. Motif, for nominating me, for having faith in me, and for supporting me. Dr. Carpenter, thank you for guiding me, for teaching me, and for having patience with me. Thank you. To my fellow administrators, thank you for your support throughout the years. I want to take a moment to thank the wonderful staff of Winslow Township Middle School, because this goes to you. This award and recognition represents your hard work and your love for the students. I was just a vessel. I'm honored to have been your leader all this time, and thank you for supporting the vision. And thank you to the wonderful students over the last 13 years. It has been a joy. I'm not going to go on and on. I just want to say thank you. I'm most grateful and humbled.
I'm gonna have to pull myself together so I can do my presentation. My goodness. But thank you, Ms. Martin. And one of the most amazing things about the middle school, because the middle school has become the hub of those coming in and those who are leaving. And one of the things that stands out the most about middle school, there's a wall of fame at the middle school. As you come into the main office and you go through those doors, you see the wall of fame. I would say 90 to 95% of our valedictorians materials are on that wall. They are identified down here, and then 4 years later, they are still academically achieving. So I think Ms. Montgomery and staff have done a fantastic job. Ladies and gentlemen, you may not understand my overwhelming joy, but to be able to say that the principal, visionary principal of the year comes from Winslow Township School District, that's a lot. That's an amazing accomplishment for us here in Winslow. And I just want to congratulate Ms. Wine and my staff. Now we're going to do something big. We're going to do something much more special than standing in the board meeting with a handful of people. But we have some things lined up that we want to do for Ms. Wine and her staff. So I just want to be able to say that this is a tremendous accomplishment for the school district. And with that being said, Madam President, I don't normally keep these kinds of things from you, but I just wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to share this acknowledgement this week. Tonight's presentation, ladies and gentlemen, is the Start Strong assessment results. And the Start Strong assessment is the first time that this test has been given statewide. As you know, last year the state asked permission to do its own assessment, and it was granted by the United States Department of Education. This test is an early indication as to whether or not our children and how much support they may need throughout the course of this year so they can be successful. This particular assessment also gave us an opportunity to assess those priority standards from the previous year, which means that if they're in fourth grade, they took the assessment standards for third grade, they were fifth grade, they took the assessment for fourth grade, sixth grade, they took fifth grade, and so on and so forth. This is not something that's going to occur another year. This is only for 1 year. The New Jersey Student Learning Assessment will begin again this spring, and we will be administering that assessment. For those of you who have children in the school district, 4th through 11th grade, you should have received an individual student report. They have been mailed, so if your child took the assessment, you should have that report. And basically what I'm going to do is go through this in a lot of slides. I'm going to ask board members or anyone in the audience, if you have any questions, if you just write the question down at the end, I'll be more than happy to try to address any questions you may have. All right? This assessment is going to be done in several ways. Board members, you should find in your packet a copy of the slide presentation. And if you want to jot down any notes, you will find that this assessment is going to be delivered in several ways. One, we're going to do it by school, by grade. Then we're going to do the assessment by gender, then ethnicity, then students with disabilities, ELL, and then we have other subgroups like economic language, and so on and so forth. Okay? One other thing, there are 3 content areas to the Start Strong assessment. English language arts, which was administered in grades 4 through 10. Mathematics, grades 4 through 10. Science, which was only administered in 6th, 9th, and 12th grade. There are 3 levels of support. And the level of support that the child will receive is based on his or her score. The first level, strong support may be needed. Therefore, that particular child needs a lot of support. Level 2, some support may be needed, which means they're probably average, right on the bubble. And then level 3, less support may be needed, meaning those young people are doing pretty good and don't need a lot of assistance. Okay? We're going to start with school 5. Now, lower elementary schools did not administer the test. We started school 5, 4th through 6th grade. Okay? English language arts. School number 5, grade 4. The total number of students tested were 189. And as I indicated, the level of support, strong support needed, some support needed, less support needed. The total number of students that were tested, and then the percentages. I'm going to do, take a little long with the first slide, because once we get started, then I'll just be going through percentages, but I'll just ask you to follow along with me, okay? So language arts literacy, grade 4, school number 5, 57% of those young people, strong support is needed. 22% of those students, some support needed, and 21% less support needed. That's for language arts literacy. Mathematics, 4th grade, 74% strong support needed. 19% some support needed, 7% less support needed. 5th grade, 184 students tested. 33% strong support needed, 22% some support needed, 45% less support needed. Mathematics, grade 5, total number of students tested, 185. Strong support needed, 66%. Some support needed, 23%. Less support needed, 11%. Now, for those who may be watching from home, the colors that I'm using are not similar to what you have on your individual student reports. These colors are used so that the numbers would illuminate so you can see them from a distance, okay? 6th grade, total students tested, 201. 42% strong support needed, 26% some support needed, 32% less support needed. Mathematics, 202 students tested, 68% strong support needed, 24% some support needed, 7% less support needed. Science. Now remember, 6th grade, 9th grade, and 12th grade were the only grades where the science was administered. 55% strong support needed, 32% some support needed, 13% less support needed. School number 6. Starting with 4th grade, total number of students tested, 146. 53% strong support needed, 18% some support needed, 29% less support needed. Grade 4, mathematics, 146 tested, 75% needed, strong support needed, 16% some support needed, 9% less support needed. Grade 5, English language arts, 156 students tested, strong support needed, 37%, some support needed, 30%, less support needed, 33%. Mathematics, grade 5, again, 156 tested, 77% strong support needed, 19% some some support needed, and 4% less support needed. English language arts, sixth grade, 156 students tested. 42% strong support needed, 28% some support needed, 30% less support needed. Grade 6, mathematics. Strong support needed, 67%. Some support needed, 22%. Less support needed, 10%. Science. Total number of students tested, 154. 50% is strong support needed, 35% some support needed, and 15% less support needed. Middle school results. 7th grade, English language arts, 345 students tested, 38% strong support needed, 27% some support needed, and 35% less support needed. 7th grade mathematics, 61% strong support needed, 28% some support needed, and 10% less support needed. 8th grade English language arts. Total number of students tested, 377. Strong support needed, 38%. Some support needed, 20%. Less support needed, 42%. 8th grade mathematics, strong support needed, 55%. Some support needed, 31%. Less support needed, 14%. High school results. English language arts, grade 9. 316 students tested. Strong support needed, 52%. Some support needed, 14%. Less support needed, 34%. English language arts, grade 10. 249 students tested. Strong support needed, 44%. Some support needed, 18%. Less support needed, 38%. Algebra 1, this is normally your 9th graders. 333 students tested. Strong support needed, 84%. Some support needed, 10%. Less support needed, 5%. Algebra 2, normally your 10th graders. 253 students were tested. Strong support needed, 56%. Some support needed, 30%. Less support needed, 14%. Geometry could be 10th, 11th grade, maybe some 9th grades. We have a mixture of young people. 279 students tested. Strong support needed, 66%. Some support needed, 20%. Less support needed, 14%. Science, grade 9, 66%. Strong support needed, 29%. Some support needed, 5% less support needed. Grade 12. Strong support needed, 58%. And again, I'm sorry, it's 85 students tested. Some support needed was 23%. Less support needed, 19%. And again, let's keep in mind, the primary objective of the Start Strong assessment is to determine how much assistance each student may need in order for them to be successful this academic school year. All right? By gender, the young ladies, females, and the males. These are all of the young people who took the test. By gender. Total number of students tested, 2,369. The females, 36% strong support needed, 24% some support needed, 40% less support needed, in English language arts. For the males, 49% strong support needed, 20% some support needed, 31% less support needed. Mathematics, for the young ladies, females, 68% strong support needed, 23% some support needed, 10% less support needed. For the males, 67% strong support needed, 23% some support needed, and 11% less support needed. Science, there were 779 students who took the test. For the young ladies, 55% strong support needed. For the young men, 63% strong support needed. For the young ladies, 33% some support needed and 12% less support needed. For the young men, 26% some support needed and 9% less support needed in the area of science. Results of ethnicity. For those of you who are watching in the audience, squares may be a little smaller, but it still should be legible in order for you to see. All right? This is the total number of students who took the test again, 2,369. English language arts. We have a level of support as it has been consistently. American Indian, Alaska Native, 56% strong support needed, 11% some support needed, 33% less support needed. Asian, 19% strong support needed, 18% some support needed, 63% less support needed. Black African American students, 46% strong support needed, 21% some support needed, 33% less support needed. Hispanic or Latino, 49% strong support needed, 24% some support needed, and 26% less support needed. Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, 33% strong support needed, 33% some support needed, 33% less support needed. And I guess someone would say, there were quite a few of them who say, well, that's not 100%. Well, when you break down the percentages, if it's like 33.3 or 33.4, if it's not enough to round up, then they left it like it is. So, and again, these are our state numbers, but that is how it works. So it is close as you're going to get to 100%, all right? Our white students, 31% strong support needed, 23% some support needed, and 45% less support needed. 2 or more races, our biracial student population, 37% strong support needed, 21% some support needed, and 42% less support needed. Now keep in mind when you look at these various groups by ethnicity, some of these numbers are very, very small. It may be 10, 15 students, but we still do it by percentage. The larger populations would be the Black, the Latino, the white, and we have a larger Asian population. The American Indian, of course, Alaska Native, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander are our smaller numbers, right? But you can see that we are definitely a school district of diversity. In the area of mathematics, level of support, American Indian, Alaska Native, 73% strong support needed, 9% some support needed, 18% less support needed. Asian students, 26% strong support needed, 35% some support needed, 38% less support needed. Black African American student population, mathematics, 72% strong support needed, 21% some support needed, and 8% less support needed. Hispanic or Latino, 73% strong support needed, 20% some support needed, 7% less support needed. Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, 20% strong support needed, 60% some support needed, and 20% less support needed. White students, 53% strong support needed, 30% some support needed, 16% less support needed. Two or more races, our biracial student population, 65% strong support needed, 22% some support needed, and 13% less support needed. In the area of science, 779 students tested, American Indian, Alaskan Native, 100% strong support needed, and again, that's probably a very, very, very small number of children. Asian students, 32% strong support needed, 29% some support needed, 39% less support needed. Black African American students, 64% strong support needed, 29% some support needed, 7% less support needed. Hispanic or Latino, 70% strong support needed, 24% some support needed, 6% less support needed. Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, 33% strong support needed, 67% some support needed, and 0% for less support needed. Yes. White students, 39% strong support needed, 43% some support needed, and 18% less support needed. Two or more races, our biracial student population, 45% strong support needed, 27% some support needed, and 27% less support needed. Are you able to see those from here? Are they legible? Okay, just checking. Thank you. Students with disabilities. Students with disabilities, English language arts, these are students who may have, who have an IEP or 504 with some accommodations may have been needed in order to help these young people through the assessment. It could have been limited things depending on what their needs are. For our IEP students or students with an IEP, special education students, in the area of language, English language arts, 73% strong support needed, 13% some support needed, and 14% less support needed. Those students with 504, 50% strong support needed, 19% some support needed, and 31% less support needed. Now keep in mind, these students take the same assessment as all the others. This does not necessarily mean that all of the students who have IEP took the test, but some of those young people are at the level in order to function, in order to take the test. Some of those do not have to take this test, right? So that's not all of them. IEP students. Mathematics, same thing applies. IEP students in mathematics, 88% strong support needed, 9% some support needed, 3% less support needed. Students with 504s, mathematics, 73% support needed, 19% some support needed, 8% less support needed. In the area of science, students with an IEP, 87% strong support needed, 8% some support needed, and 5% less support needed. 504 students, 73% strong support needed, 27% some support needed, and 0% for less support needed. English language learners, our ELL students. Current ELL and former ELL, and I'll explain that to you. Current ELL are those students who sat for the test in the fall. Former ELL students are those students who may have taken the test last year, even though we did not give an assessment to our general population. By law, we must give the assessment to our ELL students. Right? It's the WIA assessment. Right? So the former students may have taken it last year. Now that also means that some of those students could have sat for the test again this year. Current ELL students, 75% strong support needed, 14% some support needed, 11% less support needed. Former ELL, 56%, some support, strong support needed, 22% some support needed, and 22% less support needed in English language arts. Mathematics, current ELL students, 85% strong support needed, 9% some support needed, 1% less support needed. Former ELL, 56%, some strong support needed, 28% some support needed, and less support needed at 17%. In the area of science, 85% strong support needed for our current ELL, some support 15%, less support 0%. Former ELL, 75% strong support needed, 25% some support needed, and 0% is less support needed. Other demographic results, these will be our economically disadvantaged. In English language arts, the economically disadvantaged, these young people are usually identified by free and reduced lunch population. We're usually hovering around 50-55% of our population qualify for free and reduced lunch. And that was prior to last year. This year, because everybody, of course, eat free, but these numbers are based on what we had in the past. And of course, we still had to apply in the event once free lunch goes away, they will still have the applications in place where they can continue to receive free and reduced lunches. Economically disadvantaged, strong support needed, 49%, some support needed, 23%, less support needed, 28%. Non-economically disadvantaged, these are young people who did not qualify for free and reduced lunch. 39% strong support needed, 21% some support needed, and 40% less support needed. Our homeless population, 63% strong support needed, 25% some support needed, and 13% less support needed. Our migrant population, which is very, very small number. I don't think I've ever seen more than 4 or 5. Sometimes we just have 1 or 2. But our migrant population, strong support needed 100%, 0 for some support needed, and 0 for less support needed. But we may be talking about 3 or 4 students. Okay? In the area of mathematics, economically disadvantaged, 73% strong support needed, 19% some support needed, 7% less support needed. Non-economically disadvantaged, 63% strong support needed, 25% some support needed, 12% less support needed. Our homeless population, 89% strong support needed, 0% for some support needed, 11% less support needed. Our migrant population, 100% strong support needed, 0% for some support, 0% for less support. Science, economic disadvantage, 68% strong support needed, 27% some support needed, 5% less support needed. Non-economically disadvantaged, 54% strong support needed, 32% some support needed, 14% less support needed. Our homeless population, 67% strong support needed, 33% some support needed, 0% less support needed. Our migrant students, again, 100% strong support needed, 0% for both some support and less support needed. District-wide results, and this is when we combine all of our students together to determine as a district where our needs lie. So starting with English language arts, this is the entire school district, meaning all of those students who were tested, 4th through 12th grade, primarily 4th through 11th grade. English language arts, strong support needed 43%, some support 22%, less support 35%. In the area of mathematics, 67% strong support needed, 23% some support needed, 10% less support needed. In the area of science, 59% strong support needed, 30% some support needed, and 11% less support needed. And if you, of course, pay attention through the process, mathematics seems to be one of the greater needs as we go through these assessments. Intervention strategies to address student needs. So basically, the state is asking us, well, what are you doing to address these needs? Now keep in mind, we're also talking about learning loss. Most of these young people were out of school for about a year and a half. March 20th, and then last year we stayed out until almost came back in March. Some maybe close to 50% didn't come back, but we're talking almost a year and a half of young people who were receiving remote instruction. So one of the reasons we were given this Start Strong assessment is to determine how much learning loss had occurred, what it is that the young people need in order for them to be successful. Each teacher had a copy of their individual student reports, so they know exactly what the students need. We also asked the parents, I sent a letter home with the assessment, also asked the parents to really take a look at that report, because it will also show you, just based on your child's scores, where he or she needs more support, and communicate with your teacher. So we got started early. Last year, as you recall, last summer, we had an extended summer month. We had enrichment for our first grade through sixth grade, and at the middle school and at the high school, we had credit recovery. We identified those young people of greatest need and gave them an opportunity. If they were on the boat, to come to summer school, they were able to gain that credit, and most of them, of course, were able to be promoted to the next grade. This program was at no cost to any of our students. This year, of course, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have an extended learning program available to our students of the greatest need. However, there will be some exceptions. We are asking for teacher recommendation, because keep in mind, if you have a student who's right on the border of failure, then we want to make sure that we give those young people all the help they need. However, if you have some students who haven't been coming to school all year, attendance has been poor, they have to make an effort. That's why we're asking the teachers to make recommendations, because we want to help those young people who are really trying to make it. So we're going to have enrichment for our elementary young people. We're also going to have extended credit recovery for middle school and high school again this summer. After school tutoring, we have posted for teachers. As a matter of fact, they're posting in today for after school tutoring. What we're also going to do is do a short survey that has to build the principals, also touch base with parents, because we're talking about after school, whether or not they want their child to participate. We're hoping we get a lot of teachers to help out with this, because we can only accommodate as many young people as we have teachers. So if parents are willing for their child to stay after school, we'll do that assessment and get that program in place. We're hoping we'll go through that process with building principals, get those teachers hired, so we can begin to have that after-school tutoring program. Small instructional grouping. Now, I'm going to loop that into additional staff to support small group and intensive one-on-one support. What we did this year, we hired 15, we tried to get 16, we hired 15 additional teachers. We wanted to put 2 additional teachers in each school. We wanted those teachers to go into the classroom to work with those teachers for small group instruction, one-on-one instruction, and they could flow back and forth throughout that school to give as much additional support as they possibly can. However, because of our COVID situation, teacher absenteeism, lack of substitutes, we weren't able to get the full impact that we wanted to see with the additional teachers. A lot of those additional teachers that we hired, they wound up covering classes, but at least the plus was those young people, instead of having a substitute, they had a certified teacher in the classroom providing those services. Now things are appearing to get better and improving. We would like to see a lot more impact from having two certified teachers in that classroom working with those young people, either small groups or one-to-one. The other thing having those additional teachers have done for us, at the end of this school year, for example, if we have vacancies, we have those people who are working with us this year, we can put them in those positions and then try to fill those vacancies throughout the recruitment process. So that worked out for us. Supplemental online programs, we have a litany of supplemental online programs that correlate with our math and reading series. Many of them you can access at home online, and parents can work with young people. Many of them we also use in the schools to support what the teachers do in the classroom. So we feel we've done a lot of things to assist these young people, to get them back to where they should be. We understand that normally over the summer there's a degree of learning loss, but as a result of remote instruction and our young people being out of school, not receiving that face-to-face instruction, you see that there was a lot more learning loss. So we're in the process of putting our young people in a position where we can get them back to where they need to be, and hopefully as we move closer to the spring, where we'll have our state assessment back in place, and we'll see how well we've done with those outcomes. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take any questions you have. Yes, please.
Forgive me, but I have 3 questions,
Yes.
and you addressed one partially. I know this instrument comes with a practice test. Now, they can at least go on for the tutorial or and do the practice test.
The practice will start strong or for the
Start strong. So do you know if anyone, the numbers that participated in, or if they did participate in a tutorial or a practice?
I wouldn't have the numbers off the top of my head, it's recent numbers, I'm going to try to guess.
That was one. And then the second one, you briefly talked about it, was the correlation between attendance
Yes,
versus performance.
without question.
And you already mentioned that, so that was one of my other concerns about
There's a
that.
strong correlation. If you don't come to school, the chances are you're going to miss. And every day you're out, you're going to fall further and further down. And as you do recall, last year we were dealing with attendance issues. We brought to your attention how many youngsters weren't logging in, how many youngsters weren't participating, and that's learning loss every day. We talk about some young people who had up to 100 days. So we have a lot of issues that we're trying to keep up.
Last one, California has an opt-out program for the strong.
Okay.
Does New Jersey have that?
Well, this year we could not, because this year was the only assessment we had available to us, because the state of New Jersey asked that since we were opting out, the federal government required to have a state assessment every year. They asked for permission to have their own assessment put in place and was granted that. So no, we could not have it. This was required. Okay?
Thank you.
Any others? Yes.
How did we compare to state, to the state?
They, in the directions and the information they provided with us, they make it very clear to us that this is not about comparing with any other district. They ask you not to do it. They ask you to concentrate on where you are with your kids and put it in place so that you can get your children back to where they should be. There wasn't any comparative analysis for the Start Strong, where we have with the normal assessment, where they group you according to demographics and things like that. But for this, they asked us only concentrate on your students and what your students need so that you can hopefully gain more learning and put them in a position where they can get closer to grade level. So that's pretty much where we are at this point. And we are also cautioned to make it very clear that this assessment is only for us to determine where we need to go. It's not going to be part of our CUSAT evaluation. It's not going to be used for any type of assessment that they normally do to determine how well a school district is doing. This pretty much puts us in a place where this is what your needs are, and that's why we have to put in there strategies as to how you're going to address your students based on their needs. All right? Oh, sorry.
You may want my question.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Okay.
Now, I know you mentioned that the migrant population is generally very small. I was just curious, the homeless population. And does that include children in the foster care system?
If they are enrolled here, they will be considered homeless here. They're not resident. Homeless can be defined in so many different ways. If they are displaced and they used to be residents here, then they are considered homeless. So I would say, just off the top of my head, yes, they would be included in that population.
My second question, now I see that we have a pretty comprehensive prevention strategy. What parental strategy?
Well, we have more parental activities now than we've ever had before. I'm going to ask Dr. Carpenter, can you talk about any of the parental activities?
Yes, Dr. Pritchett, you mentioned the supplemental online programs that we have. All of those things are available to parents, so parents are provided with access to those resources.
In addition to that, we have had parent meetings where all of this information is reviewed, provided with a list of resources that parents can use for their children. So may I just respond to Ms. Peterson? Ms. Peterson, you asked about the practice assessment for the strong. All of our teachers had access to those resources, so they were utilized.
Thank you. We are also hoping that the online supplemental programs that we have, parents are taking advantage of. We also encourage them, if they are having any kind of problems or difficulty with those programs, to reach out to the teacher, and our teachers are staying after school, responding to any questions that they may have, and hopefully, collectively, we're going to take advantage of those opportunities. Again, we're going to survey our parents to see if they want their children to participate in the tutoring program. We can identify major coaches needing help, but if mom doesn't want to participate, then it's not a lot we can do. The majority of our young people will come from the area who need the most services. You had four. Yes.
You talked about the homeless, but in terms of those that are in foster care, they're a regular part of our population.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. For example, if a parent brings that person into their home as a foster child, then they are part of the regular population. But we have some young people who just get temporarily because they're displaced, and then they could also be considered one or the other. There's a thin line there, but we're able to make that determination because there's certain criteria.
I just want to mention.
Yes. Yes, Mr. Kennedy.
So, in the parental, I understand that we have those access to those online programs.
Right.
But given the difficulty we have with parents accessing,
Okay.
would then giving them that access to the online programs even make you log in during the day?
Right. Right. I think you hit on a great point. And I found that out earlier this year when I made a recommendation to try to put our children in the frame of mind in preparing themselves for school. As a school district, I understand that our authority is very limited and we can't go too far beyond our means in getting to the homes itself. Getting parental participation and parental involvement sometimes become a task. We don't want to overstep our bounds because, of course, the parents have the right to make those decisions. A lot of times, we don't know what help they need if they don't reach out and tell us. We probably do more home visits now than we've ever done before. Just going to the home, if we're not getting any kind of response, if the child is not doing well in school, we're trying to extend ourselves. So on average, Mr. Mills, how many home visits do you make a week trying to make a connection? Do you know offhand?
Yeah, I would say it's approximately 40 home visits a week. But even last school year, for every 5-day letter for attendance and 10-day letter for attendance that was mailed out, it was also home delivered at the residence.
So we are trying to put programs in place. Over the years, when we had parental training programs through our Title I, Title II programs, we would get some participation, not as much as we would like. So whatever ideas and suggestions you may have to help us to improve the amount of participation or involvement for parents, we're willing to listen to that. Because at this point, that's the key, because we have found that those parents who are more involved, their children are more successful. And it's just a given. That's not rocket science, that's just what it is for years. Those parents who have other kinds of issues, we've extended ourselves to let them know the services are available. So we'll see what happens, but any other ideas and suggestions that can improve our delivery of services to those parents, we're willing to, take a look at that. Next question?
Last one, I promise.
Okay.
All right, so for those, I know you said that we would try to focus those resources on students that actually are coming to class.
Yes.
Do we have a plan in place for those students who are not making the effort to come campus all the time?
Yeah.
Sending
Yeah, well, we don't give up on anybody. I mean, I don't want anyone to assume that for those youngsters who just aren't doing anything, not showing up, that we just throw in the towel. Compulsory education is required by law. They have to come to school. They have to be in class. They have to come, and therefore, that's why we're going out to the homes, extending ourselves to get them in school, get the parents to the point where they understand that the child wants to come to school. Other than what we are trying, I don't see much more we can do, particularly if the parents aren't being receptive to everything we've done and all the time we've been extending ourselves to them, because we can't get them to participate. So at this point, we don't throw the towel on anyone. We continue to reach out, we continue to call, we continue to make home visits. I'm not sure how much more we can do at this point. The downside to that is young people, unfortunately, will fail. I want to make it very clear that we don't socially promote students in these schools. Because if you continue to promote students based on other criteria, other than just their academic growth and achievement, by the time they get to high school, get their diploma, it really doesn't mean anything. It's not worth it. We want you to earn it. So when we sign off and say you're a graduate of Winslow Township High School, we want you to know that we're going to stand behind you. And we want you to know that at graduation, when I say they've met requirements for graduation, I mean that. So we want to continue to make sure that everybody who's promoted have earned it, and that's why we're saying for those who are making the effort, parents who are making the effort, being a part of what we're trying to do, getting the children there, we provide the services, they deserve everything we can do to assist them. The other youngsters, will continue to work with them, but we want to make sure that they earn the academics to go to the next grade. We want them to earn the diploma in order for them to graduate, so that these young people will be in a position where they can be either marketable for a job, or go on to college, or whatever their choices may be. But, we're going to continue to do whatever we can to help every student in the district. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I actually have a couple. For the 10th grade, the English language arts, is there any less support.
Okay,
Is that comparable to the amount of students that are in AP classes?
well, most,
I'm just wondering if it's like breaking it down that way, if it's, you know, if you already knew who the students were gonna be there.
I can't say, that statistically I've been able to look at that to say to you, yes, that's exactly right. I can't address that at this point. But I do know this, most of our young people who are at the higher level of that academic spectrum are probably in that category where they can need the least amount of support.
My other question is for the science,
Yes,
so it's 12th grade science.
well, those were youngsters in 12th grade this year, but there was science based on last year's prior, so it would be 11th grade.
Right, but like, so when my son was here,
Yes,
he took AP Physics 1 and 2.
right,
He took chemistry, honors chemistry, and took
Right.
AP chemistry and computer science.
right,
So if you threw the biology questions at him, there's no way he could look into it.
right.
Because we don't have like 9th grade to take the science, 10th grade to take chemistry, that type of thing. How does?
Well, we do have science tracks at the high school. The science tracks will vary based on the student's interests.
But that's what I'm saying, like, if there was any biology, I'm just speaking for myself, but like, he was all chemistry and physics.
Right,
So if you put earth science and biology questions on it, he would have already known yes.
it is just basic science.
So Dr. May I just,
Sure.
interrupt that?
Let me just, well, the test wouldn't be giving them that high level kinds of sciences. It's just a basic science program.
So, the skills that are covered on the science test are skills that the students have been exposed to at the 9th, 10th, or 11th grade. So it is not an extensive test, say, of chemistry or physics. It is more of a general basic skills that students must know according to the standards. So I think you're thinking more of a specific course. Well, that's not the way the test is designed. It looks at the standard by the skills that should have been covered by the end of 11th grade in science. And from there, you get a sampling of skills covering those major science courses as it aligns to the standard. So it's not focused on one specific course.
Okay. And my last one, so my oldest son, when he went through school, he did, well, I'm gonna say it's math and all life, but he consulted any teachers here. My second son, when he went through, you guys were actually having classes for the parents to come in to be able to learn how to do math again,
Right.
so that you can help them
Right.
with their math, because it was this lattice formula, and the whole thing, it was not just 7 times 3 in one step, and that's 14 steps to get there.
Right.
And I feel like I've been to these types of board of education meetings a lot when we go through, and math is always a struggle. And I asked this question a couple years ago too. What point do we really consider the math curriculum, the way the math curriculum is chosen? Maybe if our numbers are never improving, but that might be.
So when you say that the curriculum you're using is not benefiting young people to the point where you see better results?
Right, like, so I feel like there's no improvement, the numbers are always, with math, are always struggling.
So I would say this, that I would beg to differ. Our curriculum is aligned to the New Jersey standards. So I think what you're referring to is a specific program. So at one time, we were using everyday math. That proved to be challenging, and we found that that was not the best program for our students. So we changed the program. We now are using Envision Go Math program. It has a better alignment to the standards. So when we brought parents in, because everyday math was a different program, it was much more challenging, and the skills were taught in a different manner. So the parents were having a very difficult time trying to work with their children at home. So we offered the opportunity for the parents to come in and have teachers model and work with parents so that they would be able to support their children. We have done the same thing with every math program that we've had in this district. We have always provided an opportunity for parents to come and work alongside their students, because we know that if we want the children to flourish, then what we're doing here, we need to make sure that the parents can help support the children at home. I don't believe that our curriculum is flawed in any way, shape, or form. It's truly aligned to the standards.
I mean, I can understand being aligned to the students, to the parents, but the students are still only getting 10% in that higher thing, that there's some sort of disconnect with the students.
Well, I don't believe that our test scores over the years have always been that we've only had 10% of our students, and you're going back to the rate where the students were advanced proficient. And I'm going to say here that if we look back at our results, we'll see that we had more than 10% of our students who were advanced proficient. If we're talking about
I would say that too, but I always.
So this one,
Math seems always lower than.
so math has always been an area of growth for us, so I won't dispute that. And we're still continuing to work on that. But it isn't because we don't have an adequate curriculum.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
I do have one more.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So for the teachers currently teaching in the classroom, I
Yes.
assume they are going back and using those concepts that might have been lost during COVID.
Yes.
So for our students who, let's say, need a lesson,
Yes.
are those students still being challenged?
Absolutely. The teaching techniques doesn't change. Every classroom, even before COVID, you always had different learning levels in the classroom. You've always had your top youngsters, your middle of the road youngsters, and your lower youngsters. So that hasn't changed at all. The only thing at this point is, even though they are multitasking, even though they're working with groups in the classroom, that's one of the reasons why we have the additional teachers, so the teacher doesn't necessarily have to lose any more time dealing with just the students of the greatest need. She can continue to focus on the youngsters who are doing extremely well and the youngsters who are right where we go. One of the things you have to keep in mind in a classroom situation is you never want to lose your top students. You never want to put yourself in a position where your top students, because they're not getting the attention that they need, that their progress or performance begin to lower. So at this point, I am comfortable in saying that our teachers have been trained to do multiple tasks in the classroom at the same time, whereby they have their lesson plan set up where every youngster in the next classroom, depending on his or her ability, is getting what he or she needs. And I think at this point, in certain areas, you see where less support is needed, was pretty high. And then when you look at less support and some support, you combine those two numbers. Because your less, some support kids are on the bubble, which means that it could have been maybe one or two questions away that made the difference. So when you look at tests, one or two questions that mean the difference in that particular standard. But I am comfortable being able to say that our teachers are able to meet the needs of all the youngsters, because that is the way you have to teach. You'll never be in a classroom where everybody's on the same level at the same time. So I think that procedure has been in place for quite some time, but now we're more focused because we have information that will show the teacher this is where maybe her key needs more help, and this is where you need to focus your attention for him and these particular areas. So no, they're not losing everything else. They're still being challenged. All right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Monteith. So, board members in district, we have work to do. Moving now, board members, on our agenda, I'm still on page 2, correspondence. Ms. Moore?
We have none this evening, Madam President.
Thank you. At this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the following minutes of our Board of Education. I'm asking for a motion to approve our special meeting, minutes from our special meeting, which was held January 20th, 2022, open session, and to approve our minutes from our special meeting that was held on January 20th, 2022, closed session. Is there a motion?
Motion. Motion to approve our board meeting minutes, open and closed session for January 20th.
Wait, second.
It's been moved by Mr. Blake and seconded by Mr. Shaw. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Madam President, it was moved by Mr. Shaw and seconded by Mr. Blake.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden? Yes. Ms. Martin? Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Diegas? Yes. Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Burrow. Asking at this time a motion to approve minutes of the Board of Education, our regular meeting of January 26, 2022, open session, our regular meeting, January 26, 2022, closed session number 1, and our regular meeting, January 26, 2022, closed session number 2. I approve them. That's the motion.
Motion to approve our regular meeting minutes of open session, closed session 1, and closed session 2 for January 26, 2022.
Wait, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Mr. Blake. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Diegas? Yes. Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Moving now to our board committee reports. With the view report out of our athletic committee.
None this time. Our next meeting will be next Thursday at 5:30.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. With the view report out of our education committee.
No report at this time. Our next meeting is the 4th Tuesday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Will there be a report out of our marketing committee?
Not at this time. Our next meeting will be Monday, February 28th.
Thank you, Mr. Blake. Will there be a report out of our operations committee?
None at this time, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Dredden. And at this time, we will be having a meeting in February for our policy committee, and that at this point will be determined. Will there be a report out of our citizens advisory committee?
Yes, once we determine our members after this evening's meeting, there should be a meeting scheduled for Thursday, February 17th at 7 p.m. in person.
Ms. Martin, you said that's Thursday, February 17th at 7 p.m. in person.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report that begins at the bottom of page 2 and continues through the middle of page 5. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the superintendent's report.
Wait, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Diegas?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve the business administrative board secretary's report that begins at the bottom of page 5 and continues through to the top of page 10. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the business administrator board secretary's report.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Ms. Pitts, I have a question. On number 19, on page 10, number 19,
Number 19, page 10.
yes,
Okay.
it's regarding the stage scanner. Do we have any idea what the timing is for that?
The timing in terms of completion or
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Dr. Boutique?
Well, we're hoping, with the approval tonight, the person can get started within a week. We're looking at maybe a 3-4 week time frame. Our objective is trying to salvage as much time as we have left so we can at least have a spring play this year. Yeah, so that's pretty much what we're trying to do tonight in moving this process as quickly as we can.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions on the motion? Thank you. Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Villegas?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, I'm asking for a motion to approve personnel report as it appears at the bottom of page 10. It continues through to the bottom of page 13. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel report.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden? Yes. Ms. Martin? Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Villegas?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, to our future agenda. And at this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report as it appears on our agenda. It begins and ends on page 1. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel report as it appears on our agenda.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Villegas?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. At this time, still on the agenda, I'm asking board members for a motion to approve the Business Administrative Board Secretary's report as it appears on page, beginning on page 2 and carrying over to page 3. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve our business administrator board secretary's report as it appears on our agenda.
Blake, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Ms. Dredden? Yes. Ms. Martin? Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Villegas?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Moving now, board members, I'm still on page 14 of our agenda, the Open Public Records Act request. Ms. Boyle?
Yes, Madam President, between the period of January 21st, 2022 and February 3rd, we received one request from Charles Rigo of Smart Computers. His request was for any and all purchasing records from July 28, 2021. The current, the request wanted purchase order numbers, a purchase date, line item details, line item quantity, line item price, vendor ID number, name, address, contact person, and email address. Those records were compiled and so his request was approved.
Thank you, Ms. Boyle. Moving now, board members, old business, would there be any old business that you would care to discuss at this time?
Madam President, I don't know if this is old business or not, but I just had a question for Dr. Petit in reference to the loss of life in a bus accident that occurred on 73. And how was the aid?
The aide is the one who passed away.
The aid was, okay, and who has the bus driver?
The bus driver, my last report was that he had several broken body parts, a head, legs, something to that effect, but she's,
Just have to be very general in your description.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With the HIPAA violation.
I'm sorry. Well, she's doing as best as we possibly can say it. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to.
Yes.
Any other old business that you would care to discuss at this time? Thank you. Hearing and moving now to new business. Is there any new business that you would care board members to discuss at this time?
I have something to discuss.
Ms. Gillis?
Yes, I was wondering, Dr. Lee, if we could discuss, how best to improve our board members' training and, trying to figure out exactly how to phrase it. The ability for members who maybe.
Excuse me, Ms. Gillis, you want to speak directly into your mic because you're fading in now.
I'm sorry. And just the ability to have the public call into the meetings and be able to be heard, and also maybe having the link be available a little more timely than half hour. That was something.
Yes, we can have the link available, much sooner than we have now. I think one of the things we need to address is, improving their call-in. We haven't had a lot in these past few board meetings, because I checked and we haven't had people out there. But I also think that, if we're going to improve on our delivery of services with the call-in, I think we need to take a real close look at the equipment that we're presently working with, and some other things that I think will improve that process. But sure, we'll do our very best to get it listed and do our very best to improve our ability to call in. But I think there's some things we have to consider and take a look at our equipment so that we can improve.
Thank you, Dr. Fritz.
Any further, with regards to new business? Moving down to informational items, and just for the board, I do have one or two informational items. On January 24th, myself and certain other board members attended a Salem and Cumberland County School Board Association, and they gave legislative updates, and I think that there's at least two of the updates, there were more than two, but two that I think we should certainly be aware of. One is that has been approved a particular law that says hiring retired teachers. That particular law would permit a retired teacher to return to employment for up to 2 years without re-enrollment in the pension system. Another legislative update had to do with the Board of Education student representatives. It says that this law will require that at least one student representative be appointed to each Board of Education meeting, and that which includes a student from grade 9 to 12. The student would be selected by the student body. Now, this particular requirement, this law goes into effect beginning with the school year 2022-2023. Those were a few of the legislative updates that were given out at that time. Dr. Poteet, any further information?
Yes. I have a few information items, but before we go to the information items, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge an individual who has been an employee of the Winslow Township School District for many, many years, who is on our board report tonight as a retirement. Mr. John Gaskill, for those of you who may not have noticed, Mr. John Gaskill, who's the Director of Transportation, is retiring this year, effective August 1st. And I want to publicly thank John for all of his service and all of the good things he's been doing with transportation and providing that service to the young people throughout this entire community. So thank you, John, for
28 school years later.
Mr. Gaston, you will be sorely missed.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
You will be sorely missed.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll miss all of you, but 28 school years later, time for something new. I worked here my whole life. Try something new.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gaskin.
Thank you.
Madam President, members of the board community, I have several information items. First, we would like to conduct an inter-survey for students to receive COVID-19 testing at our schools. The same company that provides those services for our staff will be doing the testing. If parents are interested in having their children participate, we will post on our website a survey, an interest survey. Tomorrow, I'll follow up with a robocall. And if any parents want their children to participate in our testing, depending on the number of students who sign up, will determine the details, how often, where, and sort of thing. But at this point, the company will not give us any specifics until they have an idea of how many students will be interested in participating. Starting Monday, February 14th, the school district will start the collection of Chromebooks. As you know, and has been indicated here this evening, that we need to prepare for our spring state assessment. We don't know how many of those Chromebooks need to be repaired, need to be cleaned, and or replaced. So the building principals will be reaching out to the parents with specifics, details, but we would like to begin that process on Monday, February 14th. And I want all parents to please be on the lookout for a notification from the building principals. The next one, parent-teacher conferences, is Wednesday, Thursday, which is February 16th, 2017. Our evening conferences are scheduled for Wednesday, February 16th. All three options are still available to parents for in-person conferences, virtual conferences, or telephone conferences. So that will begin next week, and those options are still available. The next, number 4, all of you know by now that Governor Murphy announced that the universal school mask mandate will end March 7th, 2022. It is my recommendation to the board. Of course, we have until March 17th for discussion, but my recommendation to the board is that we make it optional for staff and students. However, that is up for discussion for the board, but my recommendation is if it's no longer mandated, then if a person wants to wear a mask, they should feel free to wear. And if a person does not want to wear a mask, then I think we should get in the decision. But that's just my recommendation, Madam President, members of the board. Okay. The next information item, as you all know, we had one snow day this year, and we have to make that day up. I will not be making any recommendations to change the calendar at this point until we complete the month of February. Just in case we have another snow day, I don't want to have to change the calendar more than once. So my recommendation at this point is wait until maybe the first week in March. We might be in the clear by then and make the recommendation to change the calendar at that point to make up that snow day. It has been noted for the past few years that makeup days are taken from our spring break, and we will continue to use that process. I've been hearing some other things out there about when we're going to make up that snow day. That has not been decided at this point, but it will be during spring break. And at this point, we usually start at the end, which will be that Friday, and then we work on Thursday, Wednesday. But hopefully, we won't have any more snow days, and we'll make that decision first board meeting in March. Okay. I'd like to bring to the attention of the board that the students who take the AP exam, which is the advanced placement exam in high school, they are reimbursed by the school district for the number of tests that they take. We fully reimburse them, but these funds are drying up because the money is going out, and not necessarily coming in. Over the years, some time ago, students who were free to use lunch would get a discount. And that discount could be as much as $32 or whatever it may be. But when you have young people taking 3, 4 exams, they're asking for a reimbursement of over $300. So what's happening is they're taking out much more money that's being put in, and we are at a point where that money's going to run out. I don't want to wait until the last minute to have parents thinking that they're going to be reimbursed when there's no money to reimburse. And that is not an account that we can replenish. Where we can just take school district funds and put in the account and reimburse students for their AP exam. So we're going to get to the point probably next year when that money runs out. Where if you decide to take an AP exam, then that will be at the parent's expense. It's not a mandatory exam or mandatory test. Usually those young people who take those exams are in those AP courses, college bound, but it's an option that they choose to take, but that expense at some point will be fully responsibility, the full responsibility of the parents. All right? Last but not least, a young lady from Winslow Township High School, her name is Miss Charlotte Dutton. Ms. Dutton is a senior at Winslow Township High School. She testified before the New Jersey Redistricting Committee on Saturday, February 5th. I want the school board and members of the community to know that she did an excellent job representing the high school and the Winslow Township community. She recommended that the Winslow Township maintain its diversity in the 4th legislative district as well as its voting power. And if there are new redistricting occurs, she would like to make sure that Winslow Township remain as intact as much as it possibly can because of the diversity that it has and because of all the good things that's coming out of Winslow. So I think she represents the district in the best possible way. And I want Ms. Charlotte to know that we are Winslow proud. She did a fantastic job. That concludes my information items for this evening, Madam President, members of the board. If you have any questions about anything I stated, I'll address those questions now. Yes, Ms. Moore?
Just 2 things.
Yes.
On the AP exams,
Yes.
only, the reimbursements are still only if you pass the exam.
Yes.
3 of us.
Yes.
That's right. And so since you were talking about snow days and waiting until the end of February to make decisions, would it be better for us to wait until the end of February to start what the Chromebooks, just in case we bad weather, you know?
Well, only because from past experience, we don't even know how many we want to get back. And
Let's just try to be kind.
right, I don't,
But I'm just thinking because I know it's a task to give it back and have to give it back out again. I was just thinking maybe we would want to.
well, if it's a snow day, Mrs. Moore, you can't do remote instruction. That's illegal. So if it's a snow day, then it's a snow day. You can't use remote instruction for a snow day. The state of New Jersey made it very clear that you must take a snow day. You cannot use that day for remote instruction. So that's not something we're able to do.
That's my.
Right, yeah, that's right. I mean, we would love, all students would love to be able to say, well, it's a snow day, we don't have to worry about it. Remote instruction is in place, we can do it. But they made it very, very clear to us that no, it's a snow day, we must have a snow day, and remote instruction is no longer an option. But just so the board knows, and just following this Moore, our experience has been collecting the Chromebooks and putting them in place and becoming management aspects. The amount of work that goes into repairing and cleaning and possibly not getting that because we need to ensure they're in place for the state assessment. And if we don't have enough Chromebooks for the state assessment, there's no way, we're still waiting for Chromebooks that we ordered back in September. So they're not on the shelves, and we won't be able to get any in time. So we're hoping that if we start now, that the parents know, we have a better chance of putting ourselves in a position where we can be more effective in the process. Any other questions? Information? Thank you.
Moving down, board members. Public comments. The Winslow Township Board of Education highly values input of citizens in making important decisions that affect the children of our community. We also believe in the rights of citizens to observe board meetings, to ensure that all citizens have the opportunity to attend or call into our school board meetings and offer comment, and to ensure that the board can conduct the important business of the district. We ask that speakers or callers follow these guidelines for making public comments. The board president or board secretary will recognize those individuals who wish to make comment. Please respect these following procedures. Number one, all members of the public attending school board meetings must treat each other in the board with respect. Number two, please state your full name and address. Number three, please limit your comments to 4 minutes. Number four, submit your questions to the Board of Education with your name, address, and telephone number where you can be contacted. Your questions will be answered within a reasonable amount of time. And number five, individuals offering citizen comment are not permitted to make personal attacks on any district employee, board member, other testifying, or member of the public. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to open this meeting to public comment.
Motion to move the meeting into public comments?
Please, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Green. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, Mr. Boyle.
Madam President, nobody, present has signed up this week. So we will ask the text if there's anybody in the waiting room.
Nobody's called in yet at this time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
2 minutes. At this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn public comments.
Motion to adjourn public comments?
Please, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Bush. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now, at this time, we're going to move to executive session. Mr. Long?
Thank you. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act and the Local Board of Education, we'll be entering into an executive session held on February 9, 2022, at approximately 8:55 p.m. We will be in executive session. I would suggest around 30 to 40 minutes. And the items would be with respect to matters of attorney-client privilege and personnel items associated with number 8 of the assignments. And also
Thank you, Mr. Long. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve. I'm moving to executive session.
Motion to move to executive session?
Please, second.
Moved by Mr. Shaw, second by Mr. Blake. Roll call, please.
Mr. Blake?
Yes.
Mr. President? Yes. Ms. Martin? Yes. Ms. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
And Ms.
Yes.
Motion, Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Boyd. At this time, we are now moving into executive session.